What's going on out there, junkies? It's Kenshiro. We're back with Culture Junkies Live, the weekly geek show talking about all the stuff that you can't get enough of. I'm your host, Kenshiro. And this week, as you see from the text, we are going to be talking to our friend. Hold on. Talking to our friend and guest, GamerGad. How you doing, bro? It's been a while.
Over here.
That's all right, man. That's all right, man. How you been, dude?
Hey. I'm good to be back. Good to be back. Happy New Year. Happy 2018 to everyone, man. How y'all doing?
To you, good. Very, very, very good. Joining us on the show also is GQ, Fallen Marvel, Super Nerd Plus, and LGZ. What's up, guys?
Not much. Just here enjoying the new year.
Enjoying the new year.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in.
Right, we're gonna have a whole bunch of fun. We got a lot of stuff. Well, kind of a lot of stuff to talk about. But first, let's go ahead and turn it over to our special guest, GamerGad. He is a nerdcore rapper, and a really, really good one. If you guys have never had a chance to hear from him before, we're gonna preview a new track of his. It's titled Naruto. Obviously, it's very much influenced by the popular anime that a lot of people really know and love. So first of all, GamerGad, before we preview this track, why don't you kind of get everybody up to speed a little bit about what you've been up to and over the past year since you've been on the show?
Sure. So, hey guys, I'm back again. I go by the name of GamerGad. That's GamerGad. You can follow me on all social media sites. GamerGad, GamerGad. That's it. Past year, I've been doing a few things. Dropped 2 EPs, New Game and New Game Plus Plus. You can get those on every major streaming outlet, Google Play, Apple Music, Amazon, whatever. Go get it. I'm dropping a new song with my homie and close brother of mine, King M. Dot, next month. Sneak preview tonight. We doing this thing. And that's what I've been doing, man. I've just been nerding out, got some new games over the holiday. So, been playing a little Wolfenstein. I'm ready for Fighter Z. So that's what I've been doing. What y'all been doing?
Quite a lot, actually. Quite a lot. But let's see.
Oh, Star Wars came out.
Of course, Star Wars came out. Oh, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people, talk about Star Wars and they weren't really feeling it. I really liked it. I know most of us on the panel kind of really liked it. What did you think about it?
A little bit. We discussed that a little bit. I haven't got a chance to see it again. And my first impression of it was I thought it was a good movie. But I wasn't crazy about it. Crazy about it. I guess for the main reason most people aren't. The whole Snoke thing was pointless. The way he died was kind of like at least give him a fight or something. You know what I mean? Like how are you getting twisted by someone that you're supposed to be manipulating through a movie and a half? We finally get to see the guy. He's badass, or he looks badass, and then he turns out to be like nothing. So that's my main gripe about the movie. And then, little things here and there, like the whole Luke thing. I kind of have a love and hate relationship for Luke Skywalker's part in the movie. So I don't know. I need to see it again, gather my thoughts. Maybe I'll like it better the second time around. But honestly, I like the last one better. Don't shoot me.
We'd never shoot the messenger. It's your thoughts, your opinions. Anybody got any comments about what GamerGad said?
I think he was fair. Just one thing, like as far as like the Snoke thing, I mean, arguably Palpatine kind of went out the same way in Return of the Jedi. So
Let's
Just saying.
let's not make the same mistakes twice.
Honestly, though, I don't mind Snoke getting taken out without us learning anything about him, because the fan base is what tried to make it where it's, oh, we're gonna find out all this, and Snoke could be this person and that person. The filmmakers never promised anything. They told the story that they were trying to tell, and I think Snoke going out that way was actually fine, because if you really look back at that scene, everything he said was actually exactly what was happening. Kylo didn't quote unquote betray him, because the way of the Sith is always to kill your master and take their place. So Kylo did exactly what he was supposed to do. He crossed his last hurdle and took Snoke out, because that's what a Sith is supposed to do. So I had no problem with Snoke getting taken out.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, it's just like you conveniently sit the lightsaber beside you, and you allow yourself to, I don't know.
It's exactly what Luke could have done if he was that vicious, that strong in the Force, and that willing to kill Palpatine at all costs. So I mean, it's an exact mirror of the scene with Vader and Luke in the throne room. So I mean, they spun it a different way, so to speak.
Yeah. It's just like one of those things where he kind of basically, he basically got himself killed in a way. Like, he was feeling himself like really hard during that moment. Like he thought he had like everything in control, and like that was his main downfall, because he was feeling himself real heavy.
Yeah. I get that. I mean, I don't know. But I gotta watch the movie again. I gotta watch it again. And then Finn was pointless in the movie. You got my man running. You got my man.
Everybody keeps saying that though. I don't see how people say that. It's not necessarily Finn's fault that the mission that he went on, which was of grand importance, mind you, the mission that he went on, it ended up at the end that it was unnecessary, but he still had to go on that journey because they had no other recourse up to now. I mean, Holdo was holding all the cards to her chest. She wasn't revealing any of her plans. So what were Finn and Poe supposed to do? Like what?
Follow
just sit
orders.
there? Whatever, man.
They were supposed to follow orders. That's exactly
who follows orders? Who follows orders in the Rebel in the Rebel Alliance? Who follows orders? Get out of here!
I don't know.
Nobody don't follow orders.
Everybody under Lando's command, everybody under Admiral Akbar's command, all followed orders, and they blew up the second Death Star.
Man, oh, so what? So you saying because they dissented, they fucked everything up? Is that what you're trying to say?
I think they got more people killed than necessary.
Fair. I mean,
that's fair.
That's very fair.
That is fair. That is fair.
I mean, again, I don't really care. I would have loved to see them snuff the rebellion out completely, because I'm always Team Sith. But like,
Team Sith,
though, but seriously, realistically, exactly. But I mean, realistically, if you think about it, if you look back at that, if they would have just, because again, that's how a lot of military commanders are always presented, as seeming like they're assholes because they don't want to tell nobody nothing. But it's like, in the grand scheme of things, they already knew that, hey, we are going to lose for sure, but we're going to get the majority of y'all down to this planet so we can potentially rally the troops on the other side of the galaxy and keep this thing going. They didn't tell Poe that, because again, Poe is supposed to represent a short-sighted hotshot, which is fine. That's the character archetype that he's given. But I think when you get down to it, those type of characters always have to basically learn and be put in their place at least once, so they get it. Because again, at the end of the movie, he's going to probably be the one leading the rebellion, because obviously Carrie Fisher is no longer alive. So I mean, Poe is going to be that guy now. So that's, again, it's the story that they had to tell.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree. I kind of agree.
Right. Cool. So let's go ahead and let's preview GamerGad's track real fast. I took a quick little listen to it beforehand. I thought it was really dope, the lyrics that were woven in there. So We're gonna play it for you a little bit. You know, perk your ears up and listen for a little while. We're only gonna play like the first verse that Gad had, and then we'll let him riff on it a little bit afterwards. So here we go. Here's Naruto featuring King M. Dot.
King M, that's the name, and you should get to know me. A young ninja becoming the full flesh, you know we tired of the haters and doubters that don't know me, telling me that my dreams are a lie, like the infinite who can know me. Don't think I can do it, but I'm sure I can. The flow's well rounded and on point, like a shuriken. Plus I'm sick with it too, but no, it ain't the motto. This is something I feel strongly deep down in my bones, like Kimmy motto. That's why music is my calling, and I'm the right guy to put my life on the line for it, like I'm night guy. That's exactly why I'ma make it player. Underground artist by to blow up like a Orochimaru secret layer. I've been lightning on these tracks with these Wu-Tang Cloud Ninjas. We've been rocking with these killer bees. That's why these new rappers bore me. I gotta give you that electric feel like MGMT. That's your daughter. Gotta specialize skill set like Rock Lee. You see once my story unfolds like a Tachi. Gotta make sure my chakras lined up properly. I'm a Yuri Ringo with the blaze. I'm that shocking. Yeah, life's a tough journey. That much is true. And ain't always black and white like Zetsu. I had to control my energy and learn to overcome the pain from a young age like Connor media. Boy, nah, they'll say anything just to mess with your mind. They like the story, basically putting all of their energy into controlling you puppets at the same time. But I'm breaking free, cause I got the will of fire burning within. And now the thing is, I gotta make the right moves and choose the right words to make it crystal clear exactly who the real king is.
One thing about me, I'm a villain. I'm pinky in the brain. Winner, game skirt. That's you an imaginary whip shirt.
All right, y'all. That's that's Naruto featuring King M. Dot. Hey, man, that track is fire, dude. That track is fire, man. I like it. I like it a lot.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I've been sitting on it for a while, and it's something that I've been deciding when I wanted to release it. And with Black Panther coming out, and you know, you got Black Lightning. It's a lot of Black power. So you know, I wanted to, you know, add my stamp to it. So we're gonna drop it next month, Black History Month, and we're gonna do it big, man. We're gonna do it big.
Nice. Comments?
It's ironic that he brings that up with Panther, because I swear, like when it first cuts on, like it reminds me like of that first like teaser trailer, like the track they played in it. So like, it had that same vibe. Like, dude, like I'm really vibing with that, man. That was a dope track.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's already dope. I already knew it was gonna be dope.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I like it.
That shit was fire.
Thank you.
And you know I'm a hardcore hip hop critic, so I know it was dope.
Look at this guy acting like he's the authority and everything.
I know, right? Especially, you know, he got on me all last time, so it means a lot to hear that from you.
No doubt.
That's true.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of us is pretty picky when it comes to hip hop. So here we go. So
absolutely.
Yeah. No, I thought the track was really dope. Man, everything about it was just really well done in my estimation. So how long you said you've been working on that?
I mean, I've had the track for a while. But you know, I just been sitting on it waiting for the right time. You know, and I just decided that February 2018 was that time. So I've had it for at least 6 months. And you know, it's time. Right. So I link with King M. Dot, my homie Mad Scientist who produced the track. You know, I told him what I was looking for, and he came back with you know, something that you know sounds like it comes from one of my favorite anime of all time. So I was like, man.
Oh, so Naruto was one of your favorites, right? So, you know, I was actually in another group. I was actually in another group today, and they were listing their top 5 anime that they have. So if you like, what's your top 5 list like real quick?
I mean, I got 3 Gundams on there. I don't know how y'all feel.
All right, can you collapse that? I mean, as much as I love Gundam, can you collapse that? Like, okay, you know what? Try your absolute favorite Gundam, and then like 4 others besides, you know, that you can add.
Okay, so I like a lot of people don't like 00. I like 00.
Okay.
Of course, Naruto. Dragon Ball. My favorite Dragon Ball. People are gonna kill me, but I'm kind of liking Super overall so far, better than Z.
What? Wait, stop. What? Whoa. Yo, that's the hottest hot take I've ever heard, dude. Are you serious?
Hey. I got a lot of points to support my decision now.
Okay.
Super is better. Super's a better show. We may need to spend another show on that though, because I can spend about an hour convincing y'all that Super is better than Z.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to invite you back to rap on some anime for you to explain that. All right, so you said Gundam 00. You said Dragon Ball Super, not Z. Dragon Ball Super. Naruto is obviously on your list. You got 2 more?
I mean, you got to go with Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm a huge Yu-Gi-Oh fan growing up. You know, I know it's one of the mainstream joints, but just the way that show was put together was huge fan. And then the original Pokemon, man. The original Pokemon. I was playing with the Pokemon cards back in the day. Everybody wanted the Charizard, man. It was a thing. It's still a thing, but you know, that's what really got me into it. You know what I mean?
Know, outside of 00, like almost everything you named was stuff that was broadcast on Cartoon Network. And I mean, a lot of people, I mean, if you didn't list 00, I would have thought that you watched nothing but Adult Swim and didn't watch like anything else, because most other people, they will put like, they might throw in Cowboy Bebop, which, you know, it did air on Cartoon Network, but a lot of people consider it like a super classic. You know, I didn't hear I didn't hear no Golgo 13, which is honestly one of my favorites. I ain't hear no Berserk.
And so, I mean, I get it. I'm a mainstream anime fan.
Ain't no shame in that. You're a fan. That's all that matters.
Absolutely. And when I first started, you know, getting into anime, Naruto was over already. So really? You know, I finished it maybe a couple years ago. So it was long gone. So when I watched it in I didn't watch the dub. I watched it on Crunchyroll, and I just ran through it.
All right, bet. Okay.
So you know, it wasn't like I was on Cartoon Network, because I'm one of those guys that, you know, always miss TV shows. So when it was actually airing, it wasn't something that I was actually actively watching on TV. I just ran into it. You know, I knew it was popular, but I just, you know, kind of checked it out, and I, you know, watched the first couple episodes, and it was like, I wasn't crazy about it. And then, you know, as I got into it, it was just became this thing. So, you know, I just finished binge watching it like a couple years ago. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So that's cool. That's that.
All right.
You got Full Metal Alchemist on there, man. Come on now.
Oh, I will say that I checked out the Castlevania.
That was dope, man.
That was pretty dope on Netflix.
Criminally short though.
I know. Yeah, I watched the whole thing on like a flight, on like a plane flight. I was like, all right, this is it. All right. It was cool though. It was cool.
Definitely. Man, so are we all just listing like our top 5 really quick?
Yeah, y'all can list. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'll say mine. So this is no particular order, but my top 5 was Tenchi, Toriko, My Hero Academia.
My Hero.
Yes. Let me see. Outlaw Star. And The last one I always forget. Like I was kind of like stuck between.
Yo,
like,
wait, stop. How you gonna forget your own top 5, bruh? How you gonna do that?
Because it's so many, like it's hard to narrow them down.
It is.
It's hard, like because there's just those 4 specifically I know for a fact, but I think it's just so many. Sometimes it's hard to narrow it down because like it's so much I've watched over years.
Ain't nobody listed. Captain PD over on Twitch ain't listed one that I'm surprised that none of y'all put on there. Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay,
that was my show. That was dope. I think that's in my top 10, but it's not.
I don't think nobody really is pumped up about that one. The way everybody's feedback is.
Man, what? Wow, you trying to start some mess, ain't you, super nerd?
Hey, that's what I do.
You trolling, dog? You trolling?
I'm under the bridge.
Oh, trying to learn from trying taking a page out of LGZ's book. That's what you doing.
I'm saying, like, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, we got anybody siding with me on the whole super thing over there on the chat?
Not so far. Crickets. All we got is.
I think the reason a lot of people like Super though is better storytelling than Z was. The storytelling is better.
Thank you.
That's
is there a disagreement in there?
That's Super's biggest advantage is that the storytelling is really well done versus filler after filler after cool story arc filler after filler after. That's
one of the reasons.
Right,
that
there's
is
a couple
one of the reasons.
Yeah, there's a couple of filler episodes on Super, but even those are really well done. Like to me, out of the Z era, my favorite filler episode was the one where Goku and Piccolo had to learn how to drive.
The driving test. Yes, right. That was the dopest one.
That one had zero bearing on any story, but it was like probably the most entertaining filler episode that the Z series had. Everything
it was
else
absolutely
was
hilarious, man.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you're gonna y'all still powering up? Like, really?
Right.
That was
10 episodes later. The damn fucking spirit bomb is just being thrown.
Right. So I mean,
and then it takes 3 episodes for it to actually hit the guy.
Yo, man,
I think
that wasn't even my final form.
The tournaments. The tournament has been getting ready to end for like 30 minutes for like seemingly 20 episodes. Man, come on.
But it has featured badass fights though.
It has. Yeah. Jiren is a dog. Jiren is a dog. That dude is dope. I love Jiren. Jiren is sweet. All right, so we got a lot of more stuff to get to, so we're gonna move on. And our news segment has been renamed to something that's more in line with our brand. It's our news segment is The Fix. We're gonna show a weekly fix of stuff that you kind of need to see and you need to know about, and I'll put together a nice new graphic later. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. Let's see. So first of all, this week one of the things that actually came out today is the Deadpool director is talking about having a solo Kitty Pride film. Who asked for this? Like, who do I gotta kill? Who I gotta kill? Who asked for this?
Nobody asked for it. Nobody cares about it. I mean, unless they bring Colossus in it, which I highly doubt.
Elle asked for it because she's trying to slow up that deal.
Straight up. Hey, you know, GamerGad, let's do you on something. When that Fox deal was rumored, how many months ago was that? Y'all help me out. I think it was like what, 3 months? Not even 3 months ago. I think it was like 2 months ago.
Like when they first were talking about it and they said it was dead, it was like in the summer. And then everything started picking back up, like I think it was a couple months ago.
Yep. Because everybody forgot that Disney doesn't play. I don't know how y'all. I don't know how people forgot that. It's like, dude,
Disney don't play no games.
So Elle was thinking that this deal would never ever get done. And then you be quiet, because that's exactly what you said. That's exactly what you said. You started changing your tune after it started getting a little bit closer.
In her defense, she said it wouldn't be done like by this year, 2018. She said 2019. She muted herself for some weird reason.
No, I'm sorry. I clicked it by accident. But yes, that's right. I didn't say it wasn't going to get done. I just said it wasn't going to get done this quick.
Yeah, but it did. So, you know.
It ain't finalized. So until it's finalized, let's just...
Man, that deal is about as good as done. Get out of here.
Pretty much.
That deal is about as good as done.
Whatever regulation department is going to suddenly get a knock on the door from a hooded Mickey and Sephiroth, and they're going
Kingdom Hearts come to life.
Right, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be like, look,
straight up,
deal done. We got movies to make.
For real. So, so this highlights something that's a little bit interesting in the fact that Fox is still actively really trying to create some new X-Men films. You know, never mind the fact that a Kitty Pryde film would probably be boring as all get out. What does it say about Fox and their, you know, ongoing, you know, eager development or trying to develop movie properties?
I think, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, this is a little joke I had, but you go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to hear it.
Yeah, I think they're on their last leg. They about to say, "Fuck it, let's try to put out
everything we can possibly put out."
I kind of disagree with that.
No, it's like, yo, let's put out a Mole Man movie for whatever fucking reason nobody wants to see Mole Man. Let's put the most worst Marvel character in the universe and do a movie about it. Like, really? Come on now. I know you got the rights for like, you know, your last leg. Come on now. Don't help us like that. We don't care. Everything been putting out in the news for the past couple of weeks that I've been reading, it's like, okay, so nobody cares.
It's a fire sale on all movie scripts at this point. They just
I don't think it's that. I think what it is, because like I said, what if L is, you know, partially right, and somehow this gets held up by the government where it can't.
Whatever. No.
Hold on. Fox still has to put projects out, and they still have to make money. So if this suddenly falls through at like the 12th hour or the 13th hour, or whatever you want to call it, they cannot suddenly be like, oh, we didn't have anything ready to go, or, you know, we stopped because we was all just sitting waiting to see what would happen. They can't do that. They're still a movie studio. Even, you know, at the end of the day, yes, eventually Disney will be signing everybody's checks, but it's like you still have to go about business until that actually happens. So I think this is just, okay, for whatever goofy reason, this one got through somebody's meeting and they were like, yeah, this would be interesting. Like, okay, whatever.
And they said,
go ahead.
I heard they were supposed to be putting out like a Black Widow type movie with Jennifer. Lawrence.
Well, it's not really a Black Widow.
Black Widow or something.
Well, yeah, but it looks really good, and I'm kind of mad that they're actually making it. Really, it's called the Red Sparrow, I think, right?
Red Sparrow.
And the trailer, like, it looks fantastic, and I can't wait to see it. I'm just mad as hell that, you know, that it's coming out with Jennifer Lawrence instead of my bae, Scarlett Johansson. But, you know, so on and so forth. You know, what you gonna do, right? I guess ain't really nothing you can do about that. So,
well, maybe when they acquire, they can do like a cross thing, you know, where like Jennifer Lawrence knows Scarlett Johansson or something, or maybe they went to the same class, or I don't know. Maybe they'll do something weird like that.
No, I mean, the thing is, Red Sparrow is its own book, though. I mean, if you just, you know, so it's like, yes, it's heavily influenced by like what comes from Black Widow, because I'm sorry, Black Widow's been around longer than Red Sparrow. But I mean, it's like, you know, they're getting it done, whatever. So what?
Right.
Listen to Fox. Yeah. Fox is basically Dirk Diggler at the end of his career. He did all the
wow.
He did all the
shots fired right now. Shots fired right now.
He did all the cocaine he could. He tried to get his career back up. You know, he tried to jack off on some weird scene. It didn't happen. He got his ass kicked. That's
just right up to the point of just trying to rub one out for money.
Yeah, exactly. That's what Fox is trying to rub one out.
I mean, money. Don't you agree though? They're kind of on a roll right now. Like, okay, you had Deadpool, which was super successful.
They didn't believe in it though.
Yeah.
They didn't believe
that. But you look at Days of Future Past and whatever that last X-Men movie was Apocalypse. But they both did really well.
You mean X-Men Ivan Ooze? Is that what you mean?
I mean, Apocalypse did okay, but like it paled in comparison with Days of Future Past did, I believe.
Yeah.
Like overall, but the thing is, but this is kind of how I'm looking at it, like with the movies that they're throwing out. See,
what about Logan?
Well, Logan too, but Logan was pretty much kind of like the end of the era. Like that was more like an end of an era type thing. Like I don't see them like really trying to pick that back up, especially since
Disney. But you guys don't agree that Fox's best superhero movies have come out the past like 2-3 years?
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree with that.
Here's how Fox. This is how I see Fox. The first X-Men film, as bad as it was from a comic book standpoint, still was a triumph in the sense that they got it done. It was something that you know, outside of like singular heroes, you never saw an actual team ever get their own film and actually, you know, have a film, you know, with some success to it. X2 was probably the best out of those earlier X-Men films, in my opinion.
I'll give you that.
But when you get to like what Fox did later, now it's like, okay, this is the norm now. We can do this because it's been proven that this is a very successful model. We can do whatever. I think what you ran into with Apocalypse is they didn't understand, or at least who directed that?
Singer came back and did that one.
Yeah, I think because Singer's problem has always been he's not a comic book guy. So he jumped into one of the most comic heavy storylines in the Age of Apocalypse. And it's just like, dude, you can't approach that like it's supposed to have some semblance of realism or anything. It's supposed to be way over the top, ridiculous, crazy. Apocalypse can grow big like that, not just in a dream sequence or a mind, sequence. So, and I think with him, whatever weird reason he has and whatever weird fetish he has for throwing the Phoenix in there like it's just a throwaway character is just killing it, because that's what pisses me off. It's just like, dude, you already dabbled with Dark Phoenix, or at least tried to set up Phoenix, and then you ran off and went into film Superman Returns, the worst Superman movie next to Batman Superman. Then on top of that, you want to bring Dark Phoenix and Phoenix into this Apocalypse thing almost as a throwaway. It's just like, you can't do that. That character is way too central to X-Men lore to just be like, oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna put Phoenix in it too because Jean's here. So I think that's what Singer's biggest problem is. But going back to the whole point about the X-Men films and the Fox films and all that sort of thing, Logan was earned, even though we had two really, one horrible Wolverine movie, and then the second one was a little bit better. Logan was earned because the dude played the character better than anybody could have for 17 years. So yeah, we're going to give you your R-rated film and your love letter to violence and wrap this character up because you did it justice. You basically legitimized this character in cinema. So Logan was earned. Deadpool was an experiment and it worked. So I think it's what you're running into is you're getting like, okay, R-rated films can work, and people are like, oh, Disney's gonna dumb it down, or they're not gonna let Deadpool be Deadpool. Yeah, they will, because they'll just release it under like a Fox label or under Marvel Knights or whatever, and they'll just keep on pushing because they like to make money. They don't turn money down. I don't know if people realize that or not, but they're really good at making money. They make very few mistakes, like Lone Ranger and John Carter and stuff like that. Few and far between, if you really think about it.
And definitely, and like, we'll get to that, but just to add on what you were saying, like what I found interesting about the way they approach Deadpool as opposed to how like the rest of the X-Men movies were going, they pretty much did those movies in a way to where it could be compatible should they cross it over to what Disney is doing. It's not like somewhere it's kind of like locked in to where it's like, okay, these X-Men movies are kind of just these X-Men movies. Like between them, it's like, damn, like pretty much like after two, like each X-Men movie kind of felt like they were their own continuity. Like nothing seemed to line up very well. But it's like the way Deadpool went about it, I mean, they pretty much got a comic book accurate Colossus, which they haven't done up to that point. Then they're like adding in like the New Mutants costume. They put Negasonic in there. So, and then even if like what I thought was crazy, like they even like had like a slight Easter egg of the damn Shield helicarrier in that movie. So it was like, it really seemed like they did that on purpose, just in case some things like kind of went, came down the pike. So it's like, if that does happen, it's like, hey, we still have ways to incorporate this because it's still kind of, it's compatible. It's compatible for them to merge it if they wanted to. So, I mean,
I always said since Deadpool came out, they need to reboot the Marvel Universe using Deadpool as a platform because it's technically modern already. They already got Colossus. Everybody will be established by then. and it would make more sense.
All right.
Because look, they're bringing in Cable.
Wait, reboot Marvel from what standpoint? What are you talking about? Because
not Marvel. I meant like well.
I think you meant Fox Marvel properties.
Yeah, right. That's what I meant to say. Yeah.
Oh no,
that's going to happen anyway.
They have no choice on that because X-Men can't just come in with any of the events intact because no.
Right, but I'm saying, as far as Deadpool goes, being the jumping point of all the characters in line and having established characters already and knowing X-Men exists, I mean, that's I think that will be better because they're already bringing in Cable, and I'm sure X-Force is coming down the pipeline like they already said. And anything else you want to bring in, it can be bring in through Deadpool.
Right.
And now jumping over to the MCU stuff, we already know about the Gauntlet can merge that world together. That's that's a idea right there. We already discussed that.
Yeah, we did.
I'm just saying this. Yeah. So I'm just saying that like Deadpool and that universe from Fox was pretty much where they should have did it before Disney even swooped down and took them out, taking them out the game.
Yeah, but they were like dead set on trying to keep them, so they were just doing what they wanted.
Right. All right. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is the absolutely unfortunate, and I mean unfortunate, the unfortunate pictures that came out this week concerning Supergirl and what's his name and Supergirl had brought out the images for Brainiac 5. Have you guys seen these? Have you guys seen these pictures? Have you guys seen these pictures of Brainiac 5?
Very briefly, and their costume track record hasn't really gotten much better from what I've seen. So, I just leave it at that.
Let me see it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get them real fast. The pictures I got before weren't really working very well, but my goodness, when I tell you that these things are a nightmare, it just don't make any sense for something to look.
I saw bad. He literally looked like a live action character from Reboot.
Yeah, it was really bad, man. Like it was really, really bad.
Like, he was legit
really bad. Like there it is. There's Brainiac 5 on the screen right now. Like what the hell is that?
My question on that is like, why in the world would first of all they let that get out looking like that, and secondly, it's like that's not even a triangle, man. It's like first of all, it's almost like you had a reference photo and then you had some dude sit down in the makeup chair and you just looked at the photo one time and then tried to remember from the best of your ability. You couldn't just grab that photo and like really slick his hair back better than that. And like, I don't know, dude. That was just bad.
Yeah, it looks really bad. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, like, because I know there's a reference picture that they were going for, and it was from the Justice League Unlimited episode when Supergirl went to the future and Brainiac 5 was in love with her. His skin was kind of bluish looking, and he had the blue ovals on the top of his head, but it didn't look this bad.
Dude, even in that reference though, because I know the exact episode you're talking about. It still was a triangle.
Yeah,
it's like
it was.
That was the first thing they got right. So it's
that is some bullshit. It's like they got some old dude and slapped some color on him and put a wig on him.
Like Buddy looks like he's like trying to get up and direct the Alien Orchestra right now.
Right. That's like
ready your instruments.
No. You know what that is? That's like a VH1 Where Are They Now for a Blue Man Group member. That's what happens when like all the blue just kind of just started to fade. He couldn't wash the makeup off or nothing. Don't even care. Slap some LEDs on his head. It's like, dude, come on. They could have at least see. Look at that. They could have at least drew the lines, between And it's like I don't even care about the hair color so much, but they should have just slicked it back. Like,
the hair color, the wig is terrible. The wig is so bad.
Yeah.
So
that's not good.
So he tweets, I get better looking throughout the episode. I promise. Just wait till I start talking. I'll grow on you.
Dude, that's not something I want to hear any actor on any show that I'm in charge
Yeah,
of.
what?
Yeah, like, no, yo, man.
Y'all should just kept that under wraps if that's the case.
I know, like, hey, I fucked up. Give me another try.
Right? Straight up.
To put that,
my bad.
Right, if you have to put that out there, man, that's not a good look at all. It's like, oh yeah, it gets better. That's not what I want to hear. It's like y'all was on a good roll. Like y'all had a good story arc that you did and are doing, and then you put that out, and that just puts the brakes on it. I'm like, because for me, it's like, okay, I haven't been keeping up with Supergirl, but I've seen here and there some of the episodes and some of the stuff they're doing. But if like I'm an average person that was thinking about giving it a chance, okay, what are they doing lately? And you see that, it's just like
that will put you right on off. No way.
Like
that shit's horrendous.
Right.
That was that's literally look like it's like a throwback to like the Adventures of Lois and Clark or something. Like you wouldn't think that. You wouldn't have thought that's like 2018.
It looks like somebody from Night of the Living Dead in the 90s that remake the. That's like a terrible face. I don't know. I can't explain it. It looks like some old zombie movie.
It was bad, man. It's bad. Yeah, it's bad. Tony Young was like, they Gotham Grundy that dude. And if you've seen Gotham and how bad Grundy looks right now, it looks that bad. It's on that level.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So anyway, there's
that was sad.
Last comment. What were you gonna say?
Nothing at all. Go ahead.
All right. All right. So on to better news. Better news would be that Black Panther tickets are finally on sale. And if you haven't scooped yours up yet, you definitely need to do so. They had another new trailer come out yesterday. But you know what amazes me about Marvel is that, at least especially with this trailer, they aren't showing anything. Like, they're using the same cuts, like basically in the same scenes that you've kind of already seen, but it's nothing really new. Like, you don't really see a whole lot of the movie.
Well, when you're Marvel and people are gonna buy tickets to the movie anyway, I mean, they could just put a screenshot on the TV and give you the date, and it would still sell out. So they don't have to show any new footage.
Exactly.
True. Very true.
And not only that, they learned their lesson. Well, I'm sorry, they didn't have to learn their lesson because they haven't done it, but they've seen other people who like to make mistakes like that, putting like huge, enormous third act spoilers in their trailer, or I don't know, Terminator Genesis and putting John Connor being a robot in the damn trailer.
Oh man, that was so bad.
I'm like, I'm sorry. To me, and it goes back to, and I will always say this till the day I die: you need that one guy in the room that cannot be fired, that can tell even the CEO of a company, this is a horrible, stupid idea, and it needs to be redone. Because whoever greenlit any of those trailers is like, dude, really? Y'all want to give that much away? Okay, why even buy a ticket?
Right. It's like, who the hell edited this?
So I want to bring something up really quick while we're talking about this Black Panther thing. I was on YouTube earlier today, and there was this chick. She's a white chick. I don't know her very. I mean, I've only seen a couple of her videos, and she kind of.
It's already sounding bad.
Yeah, I know, but what she said was that someone asked her to speak on the fact that they thought Black Panther was more leading toward blaxploitation versus
what?
No, so this is what she's saying. She's saying that Wonder Woman was more on the, more for like feminism and on the feminist side. So they're saying is Black Panther like the blaxploitation, saying going towards blaxploitation for Black people because this is a Black movie. And I personally feel like, okay, I kind of feel like it's like if white people don't have like ultimate inclusion into this story, like they're saying that it's not going to be good, or it's like there's something wrong with it. And she's like, well, I don't know. Is blaxploitation a bad thing? And I'm like, bitch, you know it's bad. Like, come on, Alex, stop this. But like, it was really interesting, like to hear her. I was just like, man, I hate this. But I mean, it's just like, I was just like, why are they even like, why is this even a topic of discussion? Like that really kind of pissed me off. That's it.
See, this is just one of those things that I try not to let my pettiness out when it comes to these things, because it's just like, look, it's just one of those things where like, look, you obviously do not know what you're talking about, so shut the fuck up, please.
For real. For real.
I don't know though. I mean, and again, I'm not agreeing with her, but I mean, for her to bring it up, it's like, okay, that means that she would have needed somebody that's educated on the topic to come in and let her know, no, this is not blaxploitation, because this is essentially a character that, yes, was created by a Jewish man, and Kirby was Jewish as well, or no?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, so it's like it was created by two Jewish guys, which is, hey, whatever, it is what it is. So it's like, but the character, if you read into his history, is the furthest thing from blaxploitation that you could even, consider. It's like he's a king who rules over a technologically advanced African nation that is ridiculously sovereign, and has advancements that like Western society would kill for, and has the cure to cancer, has all of these various things, and he won't give it to him because essentially, as Megashawn has, I think, brought up in one of the old episodes of Game, y'all smoke cigarettes, so why should we help you cure cancer if you still are willing to do that to your bodies? So it's like, that's the furthest thing you could get from blaxploitation in what the Black Panther represents and what the comic book over all this time has been. And for Disney / Marvel to be bringing this character as a major part of their cinematic universe, not only is this the exact opposite of blaxploitation because he's a key player in this entire storyline and story arc that they're telling, but two, they didn't go about it the cheap way. They got a Black director, they got a 90% Black cast of extremely talented Black actors, all the way across the board from all generations. And it's just like, for you to sit there and ask, oh, is this going back to the, the shuck and jive stuff that they brought out in the 60s and 70s? It's like, okay, either you're really dumb, and I'm not calling her dumb, she could just be uneducated and ignorant to whatever it is. But it's like, either you're really dumb or you really just don't know anything about filmmaking, and you're not really willing to do the research and dig into the character that you're talking about. Because for anybody to even have that opinion of it, it's just like, okay, just because it's a bunch of Black people in a film does not make it blaxploitation. It might just be that, oh, the film is set in Africa, so it's usually a lot of Black people in Africa. So I mean, I don't know if you've ever been there, but I mean, especially Wakanda, because Wakanda, even though it's a fictional place, is still set in Africa, a real continent.
Right. And that kind of begs the question as to why it's like, why she would either come to that conclusion instead of just asking the question if you didn't know.
Well, so someone asked her the question. Someone wrote in and asked the question to her. I just feel like if she didn't know anything about it, she probably should not have spoke on it like that. Because if you think about blaxploitation movies from the 70s or whatever, like this is totally like GQ said, totally opposite. So I don't even understand why that was even brought up, and the person that asked it obviously is also ignorant as well, because they have no idea what blaxploitation is, or they wouldn't even brought up the question. Is what I'm getting at. But again, this woman took like 5 minutes to talk about this, and I was just like, I was rolling my eyes, like I almost hurt myself because I was rolling my eyes so hard and cussing.
I'm at the point in my life now that I refuse to talk to anybody that's book people because they wouldn't understand anything about it.
You basically don't have time to explain stuff to them all the time.
I have time to explain stuff, so I refuse to ask me is Thanos' dark side. Like, no, kill yourself. I don't want to talk to me.
Damn, that's extreme, dude.
Here's the thing, though. You gotta also remember that in a sense, though, you're a geek ambassador at this point, because what you're running into is a lot of people that would never have given a lot of these characters, a lot of these things a second thought. Any of us back in high school, because me, you, and Kenshiro are pretty close in the same age range. Well, actually, everybody on the show fairly close within maybe 10 years of the same age range.
Right.
So it's like we all, us going back to high school. Now, some of you guys might have been in middle school where it's it was starting to crop up, but us back in high school, the average girl at our high school, or even some guys, would have never ever known anything about Groot, Rocket Raccoon, Star-Lord, Iron Man. Iron Man you might have heard of in passing. The most you would have got comic book wise for a lot of people would have been maybe the X-Men because of the cartoon, Batman, Superman, and people knew of Wonder Woman. That's it. That would have been their geek knowledge. But it's like now you get people being exposed to a lot of these other characters because, again, of the prevalence of all these movies. So you're going to have people that are going to ask these, you know, to us are dumb questions, but you got to remember these are the uninitiated, as Bane would call them. So
that's very true. That's very
you got to remember there's a lot of people that are just getting into it. And this is stuff that we all grew up with because we read comics, watched shows, you know, watched anime and this and that. This, you got to remember, as stuff becomes mainstream, you're going to always have those people that are just seeing it for the first time and want to know more about it.
My patience knows its limits in that regard. Go ahead, GamerGad.
No, I was just saying. Here's the thing. It's been like what 10 years, and people still leaving the Marvel movies at the end credits.
Still doing it. Still doing it.
Okay.
I don't get it.
But again, you have to remember, that's something that even for a lot of people, that's what people have done for years. Before Marvel, even before Ferris Bueller did it, how many movies can you tell me that you sat through the credits for when you saw it in the theater? How many? Just how many can you really honestly say I sat through the entire credits to see all the credits?
Now, you know good and damn well I'm gonna lie and say I did a lot. Well, I'm a lie.
No, I'm not. I'm just not about lying. It's my my parents didn't believe in moving because they wanted everybody else to get out first. So that's why I was just like by proxy had to sit there.
Right, and that's
my parents didn't want to move and didn't want to leave.
That's a fair point, but the average moviegoer does not do that. They will get up as soon as it fades to black and then them credits start to roll. They get in towards the aisles. They're about to head out. You know, they've been sitting for 2 hours. Their butt hurt or whatever. So it's like that's something that Marvel has trained people. Not all of them. Some of them, again, that might be their first Marvel movie, which is crazy. But hey, it's still a possibility. So. And then again, and Dido used to get mad at people, be like, "Where you go?" It's like, dude,
yeah, he did.
I don't care.
Yeah, he did.
I know there's something coming. I'm gonna sit there and enjoy it. Maybe there will be less people talking and asking questions during the after credit sequence. So I'll let them leave. I have no problem with that. But you got to remember, this for a lot of people is a new thing.
But for this particular conversation, I think it's more. For me, it just seems like it's more racist versus. They're not, it just seems.
Oh no, that definitely, because to bring up blaxploitation the way they did in that context, yeah, they're going right for the race card, obviously. So, like I said, but it's still racism and all that still has its birth and its origin in ignorance. That's really outright what it is. It's being ignorant of something. Because again. We know blaxploitation because of when we were born. And not only that, being black. So we know of it because of, not only just culture, but around the time that we were all born, or, some of us a little bit later, that was still stuff that you heard about. Everybody knew about Dolomite, the Mac, all of those. We've heard of all of those various films or seen them or, grew up watching them. So for us, that's part of our culture. For somebody else, especially you got to remember, you got a younger crowd now, the 20-somethings or whatever, this stuff that we think of as just normal, they ain't never even dealt with. Like the 90s X-Men cartoon, for a lot of those people is like, what? It was the X-Men cartoon. And it's like, well, hold on. This was, but for me, that's when I was in high school. So I remember it vividly, got all 5 seasons.
And Fantastic Four and Brian Austin Green rapping.
Johnny Storm. Right, exactly. So a lot of the stuff that for us is like classic memories.
The memories of that rap that he did as Johnny Storm. Oh.
For us, that's the stuff that we watched on a regular basis. For them, that's a YouTube clip that they may have seen off of something else. So it's not necessarily. You got to remember, there's a whole generation now, because again, now we're starting to sound old. That does not know anything about the stuff that we know, like, from like the back of our hand. So blaxploitation, especially for this new generation, all of your millennials and whatnot, is like, what? Blaxploitation? Okay, that's a movie with a whole bunch of black people. So that must be what blaxploitation means. Because they're not, the attention span is so short for a lot of people, they don't want to. And the worst part is they got so much more access than we do, or did. Just go on Wikipedia. It's it'll lay it out for you right there. There's an entire page about it. Google something. So but people, a lot of people are lazy though. A lot of people would rather be ignorant and say something stupid and be cool with it than to take the couple of seconds it takes to go online and check. Oh, okay, no, that's not the same case. This is something different. But no, they'd rather just throw it out there and
All right, so you know what? Here's an important question I got for everybody. Who going out and getting that dashiki before and representing like a Zamunda before you go see Black Panther?
I am.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see how my funds are. Like if they fall in line, then yeah.
Yo, I'm gonna update. I want a dashiki hoodie.
See, my daughter makes clothes, so she's already got her skirt. She's making me a dress. She's making my son a vest, and she's making my other daughter a shirt. So we ready. We ready.
The most I honestly will wear would be I would wear what you see him wearing in the trailer.
Yo, man, that's cold.
Right? Yeah, I think it's like black and gold or black and silver or something like that.
Yes,
I
think it's cold. I agree.
I think my wardrobe goal, like even with the stuff he was wearing, was like that suit he had at the end of Civil War when he had like the little burgundy jacket, like with the like on top of the black. Like he was dude.
Oh, he's clean.
He was clean.
Yeah, he clean. Everybody's gonna come out Thursday night looking like Tribe Called Quest and shit.
yo, check it out. Charles Walker is over there on YouTube, right? Charles Walker's over there on YouTube, right? He says, "I'm carrying a tub of popcorn on the top of my head into that shit." You know, like he was working in the fields.
Wow.
He was working in the fields.
Wow.
He coming in.
Hey, you got a lot of balance training for that. You gonna have to do a lot of balance training for that.
That's funny.
In itself.
That's really funny. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Here's the thing, though, and again, this is what's going to happen with this film, because obviously all of us are going to see it. A lot of people that look like us are going to go see it, obviously, because of what it represents. But I think, and again, just the way that Guardians of the Galaxy has permeated the normal non-geek crowd, Black Panther is about to be a very interesting thing, because there's going to be either some behavior, language, or especially the clothing that's going to suddenly be like, damn, that looks really, really good. And you're going to suddenly see, not H&M because they on the hot seat right now, but some of these other some of these other stores are going to suddenly get kind of like ethnic, like over the next couple of months. It's going to be really interesting to see, because again, it's the same way hip hop culture has gone beyond just being like, a quote unquote black thing to a lot of other neighborhoods. I think this Black Panther is going to be another representation of that, because it's the time when you really see black people doing what they do for real, not so much a little glimpse of it or whatever. Because like if you look back, even as much as we joke about it, Coming to America, if you really look at Coming to America and the production on that, and the costumes and the way it was done, it's like, dude, it shows that, like, okay, when people say that, we come from kings and queens and that sort of thing, this is what they were referring to. This, level of just regalness and the way everybody came into that ceremony dressed to the nines. And, it's just like, people, it's like, yes, this is what, true black culture could represent as well, not just the hip hop side of things. And there's no disrespect to that. No, it's because that's another part of our culture. But like representing of like, okay, where people are always, so black people are always, poverty or welfare. And it's like, no. If you really knew what black culture actually is like, and what people, when black people are, allowed to go to their best and to their fullest extent, dude, it's sick. I think this film is going to have a really good chance to show that, to a big generation of people that had no idea that it's like, no, it's deep. Y'all are about to, your minds are about to be blown.
Listen,
because
I wish that Eddie Murphy make an appearance in here.
That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool.
Like he had a party or something, and then all you see is
leave him out, please.
Thank you.
Leave him out, please.
Shoot, as many black actors, famous black actors they cast. I mean, I'd be surprised if you wasn't in there. Like the more people that they cast, like let's be real. Everybody they were casting like over the course of like building that movie, like you would just wait. Okay, when is Denzel gonna show up in there?
Right.
Like when is he gonna pop up?
Right. When's Viola Davis getting in there? You know,
exactly.
When she get in there, when is Oprah gonna be cast? You know it's gonna happen. You know, you know it's gonna happen.
It's gonna be interesting to see how that all turns out, because that film, I'm sorry, just from, and I love the fact that they're not showing you a bunch. They're like, look, we're gonna let it speak for itself. But just like, you know, seeing Angela Bassett, Forrest Whitaker, you know, all the people that they have, the his royal guards and everything, it's just like. It's like, dude, this is going to show like a whole bunch of people are like, okay.
You know, Tony Young brings up something.
You haven't really got it though.
Tony Young brings up something. This will be the last thing we talk about before we move on to something else. The last thing we're going to talk about today. But Tony Young brought up something. He said, and it speaks to kind of like what we all think inevitably probably will happen at some point. And it goes to appropriation. He says white sororities wearing group Dora Milaje costumes on Halloween. I could see it happening.
Hey, look, it'll be all right as long as they don't put the blackface on. If they leave, just leave that off.
But they can't though.
Come on now. Come on now. Come on now.
I think they can, because again, one of the reasons that and GamerGad probably knows this better than me, and especially Super Nerd knows this better than me. One of the reasons that hip hop at first was rejected so hard, because it was like you had a bunch of white suburban kids going around dressed like NWA and various things that they saw, you know, and like with Eminem and all of that. So it's like, once it permeates like certain neighborhoods, they get scared at first, but it's like, you can't stop it. It's a force of nature. I'm sorry. And that's just how things go.
Yeah, so. I agree with that. I mean, you know, at the beginning, I know we're talking about people being ignorant and things like that, but it's just going to happen. And, you know, with the Black Panther movie, there's going to be, you know, stuff on social media where some white kid slipped up and, you know, said something that he wasn't necessarily supposed to say, probably didn't know. But, you know, in order for, you know, things to get better and things to continue to improve, sometimes you just got to let things go. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, you know, ignorance is one of those things that, you know, we should give a pass on, but, you know, when it comes to Black comics and, you know, us as Black people saying that we want more unity and we want to be recognized, we can't just be in this cool circle over here and say, yeah, our shit is cool and you should recognize that we're cool, but, you know, you're not allowed to do this or do that. Now, you know, when it comes to derogatory references and things like that, yes. But in terms of, you know, being a Black Panther fan and maybe saying something that, you know, could be seen as inappropriate, you know, that's going to come with change. So, you know, that's my 2 cents on it, man. But, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, even with everything that's happened in society, I feel like things are moving in the right direction. But there are 2 types of people, you know. Older generation is not going to understand, you know, something that maybe one of us would understand. And sometimes it's still difficult for one of us to understand, you know, when we see something. But, you know, when you have Black Panther and things like that, you're gonna have slip ups and you're gonna have mishaps and things. But, you know, when you're bringing someone like him to a generation of people who never experienced that before on a level like this is, what's another predominantly African-American cast movie that has received this much, you know, publicity? Like, never. So like, you're gonna speak to like the mainstream crowd, and a crowd that you're not necessarily used to, just like how hip hop is kind of crossed over into this thing. It's almost like pop music. And, you know, in order for, you know, us to continue to move forward, sometimes we gotta just chill the fuck out.
Or they can catch these hands. Either way.
that's you bring up a great point, man. But the thing is, like, on top of that, we also have the other side of that coin, where we have our woke black folks who always have an opinion on things. So there's going to be one of them kind of situations where we're going to have very counterproductive arguments in that,
No, I agree. And in society today, I mean, like the majority of the younger class of people are ignorant because they don't do any research. They don't know any backstory on anything. What you see is what you get. So you're gonna get a level of ignorance there. So the woke people are definitely gonna be out there expressing themselves. But it's just kind of like but it's just kind of like, I mean, we live in a society where no one does any research anymore, and what you see is what you get. You know what I mean? Like, I could go out and dress like Black Panther to the movie reveal, and people would probably think I'm Black Panther. That's how society is today. So it's just kind of one of those things where you got to accept that, kids these days don't really give a shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And sometimes they say things without thinking, but it's just kind of is what it is. It's the world we live in.
Just lazy and ignorant, and just want to be and just comfortable being run by their own bias. Like, that's the issue. You know?
But at the same time,
though, it's 2018.
True. But at the same time, a lot of kids these days also, they don't know about segregation. I mean, they didn't grow up in an age where there was a lot of segregation going on, and there was a lot of, I mean, there's instances of hate out here just because social media is so big, but the majority of Caucasian, Black, whatever, the majority of younger kids, they really don't see color. And that's just my opinion. You go ahead, say something, L. I mean, you can chime in anytime. But I feel like color is kind of, just one of these things that our generation and older is kind of bringing on as the generations go by. But these younger kids don't give a shit. Majority.
Yeah, they usually don't care. However, that doesn't take away from the fact that still in 2017, 2018, racism is a big deal in the gaming community, and like every aspect of life. There's some racist, somebody says something racist and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I was just this, and people are giving them a pass. And that's like, at this point, it's kind of been like, why are we taking apologies or whatever after the fact? Like, no, like, respect us up front, like respect the stuff up front. There's, at this point in time, everybody knows that it's wrong. People know that it's wrong to be racist. People know that it's wrong to call people the N-word, or say what, like that. We know this. It doesn't have to be explained, even though if they don't see color or not. This does not have to be explained. It's been taught. So to say, oh, it's just gonna happen, it's just gonna happen. No, it shouldn't be happening. Y'all know it's wrong. Well, keep doing it.
That's very true. But there's a fine line, because how many younger kids actually know what racism is? I mean, racism is this thing, but how many people actually know what it is? How many African Americans are racist towards other African Americans? Like, the word racist is such this. It's this concept that everyone says, oh, this is racist, or this is racist. But I've ran across more African Americans that are racist than other races, and it's like, okay, we want to be respected, but what actually is racism? You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things, man. But I do think we're moving in the right direction, even though news and media, they're gonna focus on things like that because that's what's popular. I'm trying to make this bread. I know if I say something about African American something, I know news is gonna be off the charts. Hell yeah, I'm gonna publish it. So that's why you hear about it so much, is because it's a hot topic. And
just to quote what Dennis Field says in the chat, like he said, like just what you were describing, like it's kind of more so like classism as opposed to like racism, because like that plays a huge part in it too. So, but just overall, it's like, again, like you are saying, like you are right where you're saying, like with the fact that we are having these stories and this the way this movie is being handled and coming out, it's something that obviously is going to be a blend and showing like how different cultures in Africa like are. Like it's stuff that like, you know, just things that like people don't know. Like even some supposed black folks, like even when the first trailer first came out, they was mad about the guy that had the little plate, that had the plate in his lip and all that. Like that's a cultural thing. That's stuff they still do. You know, it's like it's not like a stereotypical thing that like you do. That's an actual cultural thing in certain parts of Africa. It's like you have to learn these things. So at the same time, it does give people an opportunity to like learn how this stuff works in general. So obviously we're going to have the folks that's going to be more open-minded about it. Then of course, you know, we're going to have the group of folks that are going to be more ignorant about it. So, you know, hey.
Well, you know, one thing you're going to have to deal with, because again, if you put it into perspective, because you had mentioned, like, you know, when's the last time we've had a movie with, you know, a black cast like this, you know, with this, you know, diverse of a cast. And as far as, you know, especially expanding generations of actors, Coming to America was probably one of the last times, you know, outside of Lion King, but that was obviously just mainly a voice cast. But I think that was one of the last times. And then if you think about it, this film represents, just like Coming to America represented like a different view of Africa from what a lot of people are used to seeing, because a lot of people, when they think Africa, they think roots. That's the first thing they think of. For real. Like that if you really look back, anytime you talked about Africa, if it wasn't like for like, what was it? That Blood Diamond film, if it wasn't that aspect of Africa, the only other thing you think about is the slave part of it, or people living in huts, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Yep. So this is going to be another film, but in the forefront, that shows that Africa is not just huts and mud huts and you know, people doing slave trades and this and that. It's a very technologically advanced society in an African nation, and that's going to blow some people's minds. They're going to be like, okay, whoa, wait, hold on. So some people are going to see that, okay, well, maybe there's more to Africa than, you know, granted, this is a fictional story, but it's still based on the reality that Africa has a lot of other things going besides what you know, they always want to put on National Geographic. But I think you're going to have those people that are going to reject that. It's like, this can't be real. It's like, okay, well, whatever. You know, stay back in the 50s with the rest of your friends, and we'll be over here in the 2018 moving forward. So,
yeah, yep. So,
in any case, there's definitely a lot.
Well.
I think we have. I think we went at it at length, and I'm sure there'll be more to talk about in the weeks to come as things ramp up towards the movie. Now, last thing we're going to talk about is I don't know if you guys out there have noticed, but starting this past week was exactly every single week leading up to Infinity War, you can watch every single Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, and that's exactly what we're doing as a group. We're using this online web app called Rabbit, and we're all watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies together, and we hope that you'll actually come and join us next time. Last weekend, we watched Iron Man, the original, the one that's the granddaddy of all the MCU, the one that started it all, the classic film.
Classic.
So real briefly, what is you guys' favorite moments or remembrances of the original Iron Man film? Let's go with you first, GamerGad.
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, man.
I mean, the first time you saw your boy on camera, he really embodied that character. It was like, you know, it was like he was Tony Stark. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like it was rushed. He was like the perfect guy for the job. So, you know,
yes,
when you first saw him when you first saw him on camera, you knew it was going to be special. But you know, the whole movie was just well put together. Although the end fight could have been better. I feel like the end fight could have been better. But the whole scene of him actually getting captured and creating the very first Iron Man prototype was, I thought that was my favorite part of the movie. But there were so many parts, man. Just developing his character and the way they went about it was pretty spectacular, man. That Iron Man is actually my favorite Marvel film of all time. So
no kidding.
You know, it's no shit, brother. No shit. So even over the Avengers, Iron Man is my favorite Marvel film of all time, man. And it was, you know, it kind of embodied that origin story better than any film I've seen. I mean, if you want to call Guardians of the Galaxy a origin story, cool. But you know, Iron Man was kind of that film. That pretty spectacular. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
I think my favorite moment out of Iron Man, and when it really felt like, okay, because granted, the entire film was a really great, you know, introduction to the character for any, because again, I was never an Iron Man fan growing up. So seeing that story come to light, because, you know, everybody, as a comic book reader, I knew of the story. I just had never, you know, dived into his books to see how it played out. But to sit there in the movie and watch it, and then to see the Mark II, because when he built the Mark II, and they like had that's you know, spiral shot of him, you know, with the suit checking all the control surfaces and everything.
Oh yeah.
That shot for me was like, okay, they're dead serious about doing this. They are not playing around, because that suit looked perfect on screen. It was just like,
absolutely.
Like, okay, they're not playing. It's like they are seriously about to do this stuff. And then of course the after credit sequence was just like, oh God, they just kicked it into a whole nother level. Now they really aren't playing. So I think, you know, just like Iron Man honestly is a gateway drug in the sense for the MCU, the entire MCU, because it's like it sets the tone of, we are taking this seriously. Yes, we throw our jokes in there, but if you really want to look at it, it's like, you could not tell me that when you saw that shot of him in the Mark II for the first time, and he's about to take off and fly for the first time, that did not look like, dude, this is actually something that I could see somebody building, and this looks real, and let's go. So it didn't look cheesy. It didn't look, you know, there was nothing about that was like, dude, I believe in this. I believe this is real, and let's just do it. So I think that's what I liked about that film, especially that moment. Now, granted, everything leading up to that was great because, you know, Robert Downey plays the part perfectly. But it was that exact moment when he first built, you know, the Mark II, where it was just like, oh my God, they're okay. I'm on board. That, you know, because the first part of it is like, okay, I've seen comic book movies do this before, where they tell the origin and they do a good job of telling it. But how do they handle the rest? And when you see that suit, it's like, okay, I'm good. They're handling all of it. We're good to go. Let's go.
Yeah, but the progression on top of that, man, like how they progress to that moment is really what built that for me. And I agree with you there, man. Like that moment was kind of like, yo, like this could happen. You know what I mean? But the way they built up to it I thought was really well paced. It wasn't like, you know, how some superhero movies, like one moment, you know, he's like, he has no powers, and then the next moment he's like jumping over buildings, and he's like, you know what I mean? So it was one of those things where it was well paced to the point where you felt like there was a time frame between when the prototype was built and when the Mach 2 was built, and it felt like an accomplishment. It was like, I agree.
I agree. Yeah.
I think for me, because I didn't, like I said, we all can agree that nobody was really checking for Iron Man like that. But I think a couple of years before that, I was picking up the Iron Man books, and I was like, oh damn, okay, I could see this being a movie because he was dope. And then when they announced him, Robert Downey Jr. being Iron Man, you could see the symbolism with Tony being hurt, like a a down and out character with his life,
alcoholic,
alcohol and his abuse, and then Robert Downey Jr. emerging from his situation, and it's like, damn, that's perfect. He perfectly embodied Stark, and then it just all is smart as hell, and they literally made a C-list character into a A-list character just over in a couple of years. So they knew what they were doing when they put this out. And I've been an Iron Man fan ever since. Before the movie came out, like when I read the books, like I say about 2005, 2006, so I was reading Iron Man books like that. And those were good shit. Like the whole run was really good. And that's why I got excited about the first movie. Then you can say what you want. Iron Man 2 was dope in my opinion. So
I agree. I'm with you.
It was okay. It was okay.
I mean, like I said, I got to see the suitcase suit. That's what I really wanted to see, and that excited me the most when I saw that pop out. It was dope. And the fact that they put that in there, they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to put the whole suitcase armor in there. Nobody was checking for that. So to put the little small little hints of Easter eggs like that can really make a movie pop.
So yeah, I agree with you on that, Super Nerd. And like, I know specifically for me is like just what GQ was talking about was just like the, him putting together the Mark II and just like the whole first flight and how they came together. And I know as we were watching the movie, like me and Kenshiro was talking about how we really liked the scenes where like he was actually like planning the suit when he was like back at his place, and like how he was like just tinkering with everything and how to put it together.
Yeah, that was the coolest shit ever, man.
Yeah, it was really cool, like seeing him like really just be that engineered guy that we know he is, like building all of his stuff. So like to me, that's something that really stood out and something that we obviously continue to see as he progresses, like even on, in Avengers and whatnot. And the only other thing I would say is definitely one of my favorite scenes was when he had put on the Mark III and went to the little Middle Eastern place and got rid of all his weapons and all that or whatever. Like that was a really cool scene because it was like, okay, he really doing this now, The tank missile was by far the tank missile, and then just turning away, and then the tank blew up like a couple seconds later. That was the best. Right. That was the dopest shot ever, man. I mean, that was just really cool. That was really cool. LGZ, what were some of your favorite memories of Iron Man that you can recall?
So I feel like Super Nerd, nobody was really checking for Iron Man, and but for me, it was more of the I'm gonna take a page out of GQ's book. I liked all of the bad stuff that happened. Like I love Jeff Bridges and his character, and like how conniving he was. Like I love that was like what did it for me. So not so much what Iron Man was doing, because I just wasn't into him like that, but I just I like the evil stuff that was going on, and then it just
Iron What's Man wrong with y'all? What
pulled me in there?
GQ, I understand, but what is wrong with y'all? What?
Dude, I'm just saying,
Jeff Bridges was that deal, man.
No, no. He was. Obadiah Stane is a very, very underrated villain. He was very good.
Dude, that scene when he rolled in on that Segway was awesome. My man was on the phone like, oh, we trying to get this. Oh, I got to call you back. My man walked in, he was like, Richard, whatever the dude's name. He's like, I asked you, it's like, I understand what I've asked you to do. I understand. I've asked you to make this, but I need you to make it smaller. He's like, got
any blueprints?
He's like, yeah. It's like, what you asking? Is it possible? He's like, Tony Stark built this in a cave
with scraps.
It's like, shit, ask him to do it, because I can't do shit.
That was my deal, man. On that scene, I mean, the whole theater was laughing at that moment, because it was just like, you're just sitting there like, dude went from 0 to 11 in that fast. I'm like, dude, Stane was awesome, man. I'm sorry, I loved him.
Yeah, he was.
Again, like all Marvel villains, he had to die. So I mean, but that dude was awesome.
You know what? Honestly, he did have to die, and it's unfortunate because he was really good. But Iron Man 2 did have Justin Hammer, and I love Justin Hammer, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. Also had Whiplash, and I'm looking forward to seeing that as well. But we've taken up enough of your time, so we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We want to first and foremost thank our special guest, GamerGad. Dude, it was awesome having you on, man. It was too long. We're going to have to make sure that, it's not as long next time before we get you back on the show.
Man. I know. Yeah. After Black Panther.
After Black Panther. Hey, sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. Hey, y'all, you need to go to his website. Drop his where can they find you at, bro?
Hey, whoisgamergad.com, man. Look for the new single. It's coming out in February, Black History Month. Make sure you go get your Black Panther tickets. Check out Black Lightning. It's Black Power out here, baby. That's what we doing.
Hey, it sounds about right. Yeah. Do make sure you go check out our friend and give him some support, give him some love. Tell them that Culture Junkies sent you. So anyway, for my Culture Junkies family, for GQ, for Super Nerd, for LGZ, and Fallen Marvel, I'm Kenshiro. We'll see you guys next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Probably going to be talking about the returning CW shows and looking forward to what Black Lightning's got in store. So until then, we hope you all have a great evening. Stay warm. It's really cold out there. Peace out.
See y'all.
See y'all next week, man.
Sounds like speaking of, remember Terrence Howard as Rhodey, man? Could you imagine him if he was still Iron Man?
Come on, man.
We couldn't leave without mentioning that, bro.
Nope, could not.
I'm saying, man.